All right, I don't have my typical background for trying to do the more technical videos, so this will have to do. I promised somebody that I would get a video done today, so here it is. So the difference between hybrid solar and off-grid or off-grid with grid backup. So effectively, hybrid is still grid interactive. There is a certain amount of the function of the inverter that has to disconnect and stop working when mains power is lost. A lot of hybrid systems will only work off the stored battery power. They won't actually generate in like a full off-grid capacity. Some are starting to move into that realm. But primarily the big difference with hybrid and off-grid, hybrid is going to give you backup power supply. Off-grid is going to give you the ability to run without the grid indefinitely. And so there is a difference in the types of inverters and the types of equipment that are used. There's a few other considerations that go into the design. But the reason that off-grids are more expensive is because they are designed to run without the grid for an indefinite amount of time. They are standalones. So with that being said, if you're looking at off-grid solar or hybrid and trying to toss up between the two, you need to look at hybrid is really going to keep the lights on, the fridge going, and some usable backup power if you have, let's say, an 8 to 24 hour power outage. That's a good fit for those kind of scenarios. If you're looking at something, and this is something I built for my own parents' place, who are down in Mallacoota, so they went through the 2020 bushfires and town was without power for 6 weeks. So we've built there an off-grid with grid backup system. So it's a full off-grid standalone system, and the mains power grid acts as a backup power supply to the system in case the batteries get low. Now, the advantage of that is that when we still have a lot of power outages in Mallacoota, when that occurs, Mum and Dad don't get a glitch at their place because the system runs as full standalone and the grid is just topping the batteries up if needed. Now, if you're wanting to do a smaller system in that capacity, you still can. So what that means is that you can create a small off-grid system, back up certain circuits, but not everything. For example, back up your general power circuits and your light so that the fridge and the water pump and the other bits and pieces you might have running on your general power circuits, they're all going to run off this smaller off-grid system. But you wouldn't hook up things like the shed that might have the big power drawing items on it, like a welder. You probably wouldn't be putting things on like the electric oven and the air conditioner. You keep those off the small off-grid system, and then they stay connected to the mains power. So what happens in the instance that the power goes out is that power disappears, your air conditioner, your stove, and your shed or the big appliances that are running out there that you don't want to have off your off-grid system, they disconnect because the mains power just dropped out. But your off-grid system is going to run everything else. And so that means that, let's say the power goes out for 6 weeks like it did during the bushfires, you have a full standalone system that is charging the batteries, running the system, and you just need to be cautious if it's a smaller system that you're not using too much consumption that drains your batteries. So it can be the sort of thing where you realize, oh, the stove's out, the air conditioner's not working, oh, we've lost power. Let's be cautious with our electricity usage and live a bit more conservatively while we're now on our batteries. Or you can build that off-grid system into a run everything system. So there's a number of things you can do. Just understand the biggest difference is hybrid is designed for short-term backup, off-grid is designed for long-term standalone power usage, and you can have off-grid and still be connected to the grid. You just simply use the grid as a backup generator. The difference in an off-grid setup like that is that you're not feeding your excess production back into the grid, which in my personal opinion isn't really a consideration because it won't be too long, I believe, and there's not going to be any feed-in tariff being given by the power companies. So the idea that you're going to feed power back into the grid and make money is pretty well obsolete. That's my understanding after 13 years of solar experience and watching what's coming down the pipeline. So that, I think, is probably all I need to cover in a nutshell for now. Feel free to reach out to me at any stage. You can reach us on any of the socials, DCI Industries. You can also email us, info@dciindustries.com.au, or leave a comment on the post or wherever you're seeing this. and we will get back to you as quick as we can with any clarifications that you may need. All right, hope that helps. See ya.